He casually threw the used diaper into the sea, discovering the baby's feces scattered in the ocean. The scent attracted greedy fish, and soon Mia noticed the unexpected scene. Having not eaten for many days, he quickly approached and affectionately called out to the fish. He slapped the box a few times but wondered how fish would willingly enter the net. Reflecting, he devised an idea: to create a tool that takes the initiative and attacks. Connecting one end of the tool to a long rope and tying a sharp small screwdriver to the other made a simple harpoon. Confident he could catch fish, the food shortage would be solved. Believing proficiency would help him catch them, he kept trying. But his dull tool made him fall into water, scaring them away after a day's effort yielded nothing. Her strength exhausted, Mia lay tired on the cargo box. Needing another way to catch fish, she suddenly saw a plane overhead. If she could attract its attention, she would be saved. Though hope was slim, Mia decided to try. She hurried to the cargo hold, shattered the TV screen, grabbed a shard, and rushed back. However, unexpectedly, an accident occurred climbing up because she was anxious. Mia couldn't attend to the cargo hold. Anxiously, she stood up holding the shard as a mirror, constantly murmuring please, hoping that the people on the plane could see her. However, this idea was somewhat naive. Ultimately, she worsened her leg wound and had to return to the cargo hold, tear open the TV, find a bent needle, and retrieve copper wire. Use spirits for simple disinfection, enduring hellish pain to forcibly sew the wound shut. Early the next day at dawn, Mia took a simple fishing net out of the cabin and cast it into the water. Two wooden poles attached to the fishing net as Mia lies on the cargo box, carefully tossing the baby's diaper above the net while holding the poles firmly. He knew the fish would be attracted, so he waited patiently. Soon, the baby's waist spread in the seawater, and some fish followed the scent. Finally, a big fish swam in, and Mia quickly pulled up the net. In his desperate situation, he finally found something to eat. Today, I recommend this Spanish survival movie to everyone. Desperate to commit suicide, a woman is awakened by her unborn child alone in seawater. She overcomes many hardships for her daughter, leading to an unexpectedly twisted ending. A gripping, non-dull film worth watching. It depicts a dystopian country where resource shortages drove Spain and neighbors to implement a brutal extermination plan. Initially, the rulers ordered the elimination of all elderly. 7 months later, they targeted children and pregnant women, ordering the troops to wipe them out in their cradles for survival. Ordinary people risked their lives and spent everything to smuggle themselves to other regions. Nicole and his wife Mia were such a pair, led by a facilitator. Under the cover of night, they sneaked into a shipping container filled with smuggled pregnant women and children. A woman with electronics drilled a small hole, making the confined space less suffocating. Through this small opening, they saw a scene filled with tragedy. People demonstrating in the streets but being suppressed by armed police. Children and pregnant women were mercilessly caged on the spot, making anyone regret staying. Nicole handed Mia chocolate, believing it would be crucial then. Suddenly, the cargo hold door opened and many refugees approached from all directions, knocking Mia down. The middleman had taken over another batch of smugglers, urging quick entry as the situation spiraled out of control. A bald man fired his gun to take control. He told everyone that another train was about to depart and not to crowd. However, while separating the crowd, some could be pushed outside. While rushing into the carriage, a guard threw her out, causing Mia to lose her only chance. Mia pressed her face against a small hole to check Nick's whereabouts. She entered the green container labeled 107. Then they contacted Nicole by phone, promising to get off and find her when possible. They warned her not to trust anyone, yet fate mocked her again when the truck was halted at a checkpoint. Even the bald man with clearance documents confirmed it. They still couldn't avoid a thorough inspection. The cargo door opened and goods inside were clearly laid out. An officer walked in whistling, carefully inspecting the truck. He moved toward carriage end, separated by a wall from smugglers. Everyone inside huddled tightly, silent. Travis, follow. Suddenly, the officer instructed his subordinates to stand inside the carriage, slowly walk outward while counting his steps, and at a certain spot, order them to open fire. A bullet fired straight from the carriage center to the back, leaving room as predicted. Feeling insulted by his intelligence, he immediately turned back. The refugees hiding inside instantly felt their spirits plummet to rock bottom. The army here is notoriously cruel, and intercepted smugglers invariably meet grim fates. They thought they'd be shot randomly, but the bald leader didn't order his men to attack. Instead, he kindly persuaded them, promising shelter, food, and water to each person who surrendered. Those who took your money and smuggled you in containers are the truly terrifying. Despite his long persuasion, no response inside. Growing impatient, he nearly ordered his men to shoot a blonde girl. When she opened the iron door and couldn't escape, he had his men lower weapons and approached her kindly. The other party unhesitatingly pulled the trigger seconds later, causing his tragic death under the leader's lies. The others couldn't escape death, falling amidst gunfire. Only a woman named Jung hiding on the roadside survived. He tightly shut his mouth with both hands, fearing to make a sound. When the bald leader approached to check, a dog suddenly appeared, friendly, completely unlike its previous brutal demeanor. Nearly leaving, he found a little girl inside. "Please put all of these things away." After receiving orders, his men began the cleanup, carrying bodies one by one. They rinsed out the blood to destroy evidence. As the container doors slowly closed, the massacre was declared over. She finally lowered her hand and wept aloud, believing she'd escaped disaster and that things would improve, unaware a greater catastrophe awaited her. Quickly, the container was loaded onto the ship. Looking at her unborn child, he resolved to live well and slowly drifted asleep, lost in thought. A violent shaking jolted him awake from dreams as the cargo ship faced a severe storm. He shouted desperately, but those outside couldn't hear him. As the waves capsized the cargo ship, its container was flung out. When he woke up unsure of the time, he struggled to stand. Fortunately, the fetus in his belly remained unharmed. Then, astonished, he peered outside through the bullet hole. He found himself adrift on the vast ocean, surrounded by numerous containers, unable to believe his eyes. Without a ship, how could they go home? The woman tried calling for help, but her waterlogged phone malfunctioned, preventing normal operation. Though he had a spare phone, he couldn't remember the password. Recent intense movements accidentally induced labor while stranded at sea, and the container began taking on water from bullet holes. As the container began taking on water, he hurriedly rummaged through wooden boxes for something useful, knowing that without quickly blocking it, the vessel carrying his life would sink. He searched extensively, finding LCD TVs, headphones, or clothes. These items later appeared abundantly by chance when he was at a loss. He discovered a roll of tape on the ground and quickly sealed the leak, easing the woman's anxious heart slightly. But at that moment, human shouts suddenly came from outside. He hurriedly looked outside and saw another group of smugglers. Although these people were lucky not to have been caught by customs, their container was gradually sinking due to being overweight. Desperately, the woman could only shout as saving them proved impossible. Soon the container submerged, disappearing into the vast ocean. Watching their fate, she seemed to foresee her own. Severe abdominal pain forced her to stay strong as her husband was captured by terrorists in another container, now unreachable with unknown fate. The child in her womb became her only reason to live. He gradually drifted into yearning sleep, but a sudden bone-chilling cold woke him. Overnight, the container had taken on so much water it began to sink. If he didn't remove the water, his result would match the others. The woman swiftly opened the top container, only to find it filled with lunchboxes. Just as she felt confused, she noticed the box's edges were secured with rubber hoses and instantly had an idea. Using them, she created a drainage system and gathered the boxes to one side, causing the water inlet to tilt. She directed seawater to gap-free areas, preventing flooding, then used pipes to drain remaining water, temporarily resolving the crisis. He rummaged through the container's supplies, finding 2 bottles of fresh water and some items. As she contemplated next steps, a sharp abdominal pain signaled it was time to give birth. "Please let me go. Please, please don't disturb me. Please, not now." Under the baptism of a torrential downpour, she successfully gave birth to the child. Only she knows the pain she endured during this process. Although the child is healthy, a new problem has arisen before him. There is no food. She can't provide enough milk. She must quickly leave the container and go outside to find a solution. The electric drill is key, but the child's crying prevents him from working peacefully. He can only soothe her by singing. However, the other keeps crying. "Oh, what a lovely day. Mother! Please do not cry during this difficult and emotional time right now." The child is crying because he is hungry, but the woman simply doesn't have enough milk. Starving, he can only eat the placenta, which only provides a little energy, but it won't last long. He urgently tried to chisel open the container, but the power station shut down unexpectedly. Now, without tools, his only chance to escape is lost. With nearly empty water bottles, his tragic circumstances drive him to angrily smash things, accidentally finding wrong knife. He saw the saw-like blade and felt hopeful, but it was ineffective compared to a drill. After struggling, it failed to open, causing numerous wounds. After prolonged dehydration, his body failed. By nightfall, he groggily found the unfinished